Right, today is Friday, the 15th of May. Just a report on progress. I have put a new strip of tape over the bottom plank, which looks much better, although there's a few areas where the matting is showing through, and I think that's because I did it in the morning with the sun rising, getting hotter and hotter, and any moisture bubbling through, and maybe an air bubble or two pushed the mat up. So I should have known better, but that's a lesson learned. Then I've tidied up the planks and I've scribed the line 9mm in where I'll drill the holes, and I've actually marked out all the holes on the top planks. So that's something I'll get on with tomorrow morning. And I need to cut the wire. I've also set up the tarpaulin now with clamps, and it's looking much neater, easier to manage, and it's covering the work. So if it rains, no problem, everything will be covered. That's good. Got the boat design plans today, the build plans from Alec Jordan. Not a huge amount of advice really, so I think this is going to be a case of going along with the drawings. I looked at them last night and I can visualize most of it from the drawings, but some of it will become clearer in 3D. That's my way of operating mostly. But I need to be careful to put the correct markings in. So one thing I need to remember before I start wiring tomorrow is to draw the position holes for the frames on the planks. All those holes are there, so that's really good. I've got those positions. That's going to be, well, that's critical for the measurements. And so it's been a good week all in all. I've had quite a bit of work to do for BMI. I haven't had any long sessions on the boat, maybe 1 or 2 afternoons I managed, but on the whole it's been at the end of the day. Although, having said that, today, in between meetings, I did do the fiberglass taping. So I guess they're going to be jobs like that I can do in between meetings. And I need to keep the pressure. I need to start some pressure, because 1 week in, just over a week in, it feels a little bit slow. This will be only my second weekend, so not bad going into the second weekend wiring up, but it's literally taken the whole week just to join the planks together. And, I don't know, 6 or so hours in total maybe, but spread out over a week. So I need to up the pace a little bit if I want to get this finished in 12 weeks. So looking forward to this weekend. I hope the wiring goes well, and if I've got enough wire, I can always get some more wire from the garden, from home base probably. Doesn't have to be this copper wire, I think. I will see tomorrow how much progress I make on the planking. And if that wiring goes well, then who knows? Maybe by next weekend there'll be some epoxy in the boat. Anyway, don't want to get ahead of myself. So that's it for today, and check you tomorrow. So I'll give a little bit of commentary of today's work. Here you can see plank number 1 has been loosely stitched in place with the help of Josh. It's definitely a 2-person job, the stitching, and I think it's going to get more difficult when the other planks start going on. One little snag I noticed, the upper laminate of the ply here had lifted, so I've glued it back together again. Should be okay tomorrow. And Josh suggested wiring on the inside, so I'm not sure if there's a reason why that isn't usually done, but we'll see. The other planks will be easier to wire traditional way with the twist on the outside. So that was today's work. It's going to be slow, and I'm going to need another pair of hands to get these planks wired, and I'm going to need loads more wire. So the 14 meters from professional epoxy coatings, not going to be enough. So I've ordered more online. That should come in a few days. And then I'll get on with the wiring the rest of it. But pretty exciting to see it in its infancy. Keep you posted. This is Free Flow on Monday afternoon, 19:27 in the evening. Good day today. 2 essential bits of materials arrived. This copper wire, which is 2 millimeters thick. So far I've got really lightweight wire, and I don't think it'll hold up when everything gets tightened together. Slight downside is that I need to use a 2.5mm drill bit, so all the holes that I've already done with the 2mm bit are not big enough for this wire, so I have to open them up a little bit. But anyway, good to have this. And the other was a delivery from Robin's Timber with the Douglas fir and the Iroko. They're still wrapped up in their cardboard and plastic, lying outside in the lawn. Not quite sure what to do with those, but I'm thinking, again, it comes down to space. What space you've got available to do different jobs consecutively, so you're not just waiting for one job, one gluing to dry before you get on with anything else. I mean, probably quite obvious when the project gets underway, but at the beginning, now, still the beginning really, it's kind of got to be worked out in my head. What jobs? So I've thought of the tabernacle, and then I've thought, but do I really want a tabernacle actually? A bit more extra work, and I don't know. My dad reckons it'd be easier to unstep the mast when you're going under low bridges, and yeah, but I'm not quite sure how many low bridges I'll be going under. And it's not a very big mast, so it's easy to take out too, probably. But we'll check, that's one thing. Then I've been wondering about the whole centerboard casing. Glues on with frame B or frame C, or both. Have to check that out. So that's an update for today. Didn't really do any work today apart from try out the drill bits with the wire. Sanded the edges of the transom. That was one job I did, just where I glued the 2 bits together, laminated it. I sanded that on the edges. That looks fine. Not as much kind of resin coming out of the edge joints as I maybe would have been better to have more squeezed out, but I think it was it was a 6-part mix of epoxy on that transom, so it took quite a lot of material. So tomorrow I've got quite a bit on with BMI, but I will definitely start drilling out those holes, and now that I've got the wire, I'm just going to keep planking, stitching, putting the frames in. I've got 2 planks in. The building notes suggest in some designs, don't say which, but in some you could start wiring the frames in and the bulkhead frames once you've got planks up to kind of 2 or 3 planks on. So I've got 2 planks on, so maybe I'll put one more plank, or maybe not. Maybe I'll just play with the frames next and then go from there. So it's quite exciting. But it's the beginning of a work week for BMI, and so I have got things on that I've got to spend time doing, and that will leave the afternoons and evenings, although could be a bit windy later in the week, so I don't know, we'll see. But the other good thing is I've got a 4-day weekend coming up, because I've taken Friday off and it's a bank holiday Monday. I had wanted to start it the day before, which is my birthday, on the Thursday, 21st of May, but a bloody meeting came up that I can't really get out of, so not going to happen then, or it might be no, I can't get out of it. So my long week, which I hope to fill with progress on the Petit Brise, but then also the sea is beckoning, so the thought of popping down to Southsea on the day. And going out to sea, not necessarily on Equilibrium, maybe Sally wants to take Keeps out. I don't mind, but just getting up there for a bit, that would be pretty cool. So, that's it for tonight, for this vlog. I am at some point going to try and splice some of these together and see if it makes any sense. If there's any interest in listening to it. I was thinking a bit about that too. What is this? Well, why would you watch me talking about the Petit Brise build? Lots of reasons and no reasons, really. So I guess I'm going to be cutting down all this bullshitting because I don't know if it adds to anything. But what I want to do, and the other thing I forgot to mention, what arrived today is a tripod where I can mount the tablet that I'm talking into, and that way hopefully film some of the actual stitching and building. So that's something else I might play with tomorrow. Yeah, that'll be good. But for now, Monday afternoon, adios. So, great progress today, 19th of May, Tuesday. I have taken the plunge and decided to wire in the frames just on the bottom plank and the first plank. But I think I'm going to use the profile to help me stitch the other planks on. So this is really good. It took me an hour probably to do that. Not completely tight stitches because that's the advice. And if we look over at the bow, there's quite a bit to kind of pull together. I'm just going to have a bit of a break and then see if I can get back onto it. But really happy with that. So let's take it to the next level. In the picture is the Petit Brise coming on in leaps and bounds. This week was a really good week so far. It's only Tuesday. I've got 3 planks loosely wired and all the frames wired to the first plank. So there's one more plank to put on, and then there will be pulling in the bow, pulling in the transom, getting everything lined up, making that sweet hull where the lines are all just right. So that'll be fun. That'll be a lot of tapping and pushing and pulling and wedging and planing maybe even. But that will be some work where I need some help, so I'll get Josh in on that act. Today is Saturday, 23rd of May. Well, since the last little update, as you can see, had a bit of an accident, face planted in the concrete outside after blacking out. So I haven't done any work on the boat for the last few days. Hopefully get back to that tomorrow. Get Josh to help me pull the hull in and do some stitching, see what it looks like. So this is just a quick one. Yeah, not saying much really, but hope to carry on with the boat tomorrow. Cheers. Here we are on Sunday afternoon, 24th of May, and the first wiring phase is done. With the help of Josh on the bow, I'm happy that pretty much in alignment, but I am going to start taking measurements now and see if everything squares up. There are obviously gaps still, but I think that's to be expected. So I'll do some measuring and then probably some tightening of the wires here and there. And then, yeah, next step will be figuring out the epoxy. Something I am not 100% sure of are these top planks. There's not much of an angle between them, so I'm not sure how to deal with those actually when it comes to the epoxy fillet. I don't think it's going to have a true fillet, so I need to read up a little bit more and have a think about it. See what I discover. The transom's loosely in place. It is stitched, but I have purposefully left them a little bit loose. There may be angles to measure and before I tighten it up. So there you go though. Really looking like a boat. I'm going to walk down. You can start to get a feel for the lines. Beautiful lines, I think. That's the bow. Still quite a few gaps in the bow, but I think a lot of that will be filled with the epoxy fillet on the inside, and then the inner stem butts up into that angle where the planks meet. And I guess then the outside is kind of faired and have the option of putting an outer stem on there. And again, that will give more shape. So I think this epoxy phase here, the next phase, as long as it's all squared up and basically true, then the epoxying and the taping, the main focus is going to be on the strength. The aesthetics will come really later, although from experience I don't want to make too much of a mess or use too much epoxy, because it is a nightmare to clean up afterwards. But that's it for now. Sunday afternoon. Probably the next images we'll see will be some of the epoxy going in. So till next time,